All right, sure. I would now like to invite the director of the French Institute of India to please address the audience. Over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I won't be long. I just want to say a few words. Just to say that, first of all, I would like to thank very much Mrs. Manisha and Mr. Sanjoy Ji, who was there, just there, and because it's a great Jaipur Lit Fest today is the greatest book festival in India, and today because it was in Chennai before, but today it's in Jaipur, of course. But no, it's a great pleasure, and it's the greatest bookstore in India today also. And being in a bookstore, it's just like being in paradise. I think you agree about that. So just to tell you that, I'm the director of the French Institute in India, so we are very much dedicated to promoting ties and, of course, as was said before, promotion, of course, of books, editions, and French books in India. But also, it's true that we also are ambassadors of Indian literature, Indian publishers in France, because that's so important to make connections, and that's in both ways. Reciprocity, I would say. Thank you so much. So I would like to say thank you so much also to the team, Julia and Victoria and the team. And this is also one of the very first events we have in the French Indian Year of Innovation that is starting today. So that's something important. I would like to tell you that I'm a diplomat. So I've been a diplomat for quite a long time. But, and I remember, that I fell in love with books also when I was young. First, it was mostly to read history, geography, to learn about the world. It was more about, first, my love for books came first with knowledge, I would say. The thirst, the hunger for knowledge. And then I remember that something came later, perhaps when I was 18 or 19, the stories, of course, the pleasure of the stories, but what I love the most is the pleasure of style, the style, the music of the words, to be in a book and to enjoy the music, the style, the creativity, the art in the words. That's what I love the most. And of course the stories, and of course to learn things, the interesting things. And that's what I like. And I think, that's the first thing. There are profound and deep changes in the publishing ecosystem, in the world of edition and so on. But, what we should not forget with everything is the pleasure of reading, the pleasure of the stories, to share stories. And we know that Indian readers, Indian people, like French readers, they love beautiful and great stories. And also what is so important with the new technologies, AI and so on, I know the issue, what is challenging is also to keep the most beautiful style, because that's what is left in the end, You have stories, you have images, of course, but also the styles. Today, I'm happy. We thank you also for the bookmark. It is a great initiative to connect professionals, and because that's also how it is. This is important. We have made quite a big work. We have worked very, very hard to have meaningful guests and people coming and stakeholders coming today with something that is very important for Julia, what she told me, and the colleagues and Victoria at the French Institute, is also the ethical standards. The standard ethical standards, the respect of the authors, respect of the readers. That's very, very important. That what we do and books, what we support, that's very important to respect and have this in mind. Ethical, good standards, that's very important. But most of it, thank you so much. I hope there will be some great connections today, great books that will be discovered, great Indian books and readers and writers and publishers that will be discovered by French and so on and so on. We'll make connections. Great books from India will be published in French, for French, but not only, because Francophonie, French-speaking world, is much more than French. And, of course, French books and Francophonie will be translated. This is so important. So that's what we like. That's why I like so much my job and being here today. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments, sir. I think we are going to start with a short video. Are we?
Actually, a short presentation of Matriochkas, but you can go on with the questions you had in mind.
No, we can start with your presentation and then we can go on to our discussion.
So Matriochka is a book-to-screen bureau. I come from a publishing background, selling rights, so basically giving more visibility to stories without translation, but over formats. And 4 years ago, we joined our forces with Delphine.
And I come from the movie industry, and I'm a film and TV producer, used to be, and also I have a legal background. And together we made the diagnostic that there was a need for a bridge between the two industries, publishing and film industries, because they share the same ambition in terms of the quality of the project, creative project, when it's about turning a book into a film, but they don't always speak the same language. So this is why we did that together.
So basically we started this discussion of production and publishing just to try and be more efficient in placing the rights. So we are really at the very middle of the two industries. So after 4 years, we signed about 50 deals with producers, with producers, with broadcasters in France, but also abroad, in the US, in the UK. And we represented over 40 clients, which includes HarperCollins in France, but also foreign agencies such as Curtis Brown in London for some of their books, or even an Asian literary agent based in London for Japanese and Chinese books.
So as you can see, it's a B2B business, and it's very important to us because we feel we are a resource for professionals when it comes to the book-to-screen business. So we work mainly with publishers because they usually in France they control the film rights, but also with literary agents when their authors have retained their film rights and they want to make the best of it.
So those are a few examples of the books we've placed, which includes French but also foreign books. And I think, Swati, when we were preparing this session, you thought it would be interesting in emphasizing one specific example of a successful story. So we have one project which is for us dream-like scenario.
We would love it to be our benchmark, but it's not always a fairy tale.
And we thought it was interesting to share around that very example to give you an insight in what we do on a day-to-day basis. So when we signed a mandate with HarperCollins, we read their catalog and we came across a backlist title. Backlist as opposed to front list. So what's magical about adaptation is you can make the magic happen also for books which have been published a while ago. 10 years ago for this example. So Dear You is the romance. And here we've tried and tell you about that process of transformation of the story so that it becomes a series.
What is interesting about this example is that the book was published 10 years ago. The action takes place in a palace in the US, and the main character is looking for love through newspaper ads. And there was a gallery of characters, there was a strong setting, and a huge community because it was really success. And when we pitched it to the French producers, we explained that it could be easily relocated in France, that of course nobody is looking anymore into ads to find love. So the producer had the idea to change it and make it encounter, what do you call it, a
dating app.
A dating app.
So Dear You now, this is a dating app of the series.
But They kept.
Yes, that's true. They were faithful to the very heart of what was at the center of the series.
So it did not alter the book, and the author, she's so happy about what happened with the book. It went on. It was broadcasted on Amazon Prime last year, and it was a huge success. So now they're starting the shooting of season 2 next month. So to us, it's a very...
it's basically the making of what producers called IP, intellectual property. So by using the universe of the book, you transform it into a audiovisual universe. So I don't know. I think it's you guys who can just...
Souhaitons la bienvenue à Alma, nouvelle guest relation manager du Folie.
Très bel hôtel, hein. Waouh, ça en jette, hein.
Aujourd'hui, nous avons l'arrivée d'Alexandre Blake, c'est un de nos plus gros clients.
Putain, merde, faites attention.
Alma, qu'est-ce que t'as fait?
Je lui ai renversé ma bière dessus. Connard. Et je l'ai traité de connard.
Meuf, c'est genre le client a pas loupé.
À part sa thune et son physique, il a rien pour lui.
Il parle de qui? Il est tellement beau. Vous allez vous occuper personnellement de lui.
It was an attempt to show you the teaser, but it's okay. You can trust us.
It's the same, but without the song.
So it's on Amazon Prime now.
Yeah, it's Paris.
Souhaitons la bienvenue à Alma, nouvelle guest relation manager du Folie.
Très bel hôtel, hein. Waouh, ça en jette, hein.
Aujourd'hui, nous avons l'arrivée d'Alexandre Blake, c'est un de nos plus gros clients.
Putain, merde, faites attention.
Alma, qu'est-ce que t'as fait?
Je lui ai renversé ma bière dessus. Connard. Et je l'ai traité de connard.
Meuf, c'est genre le client a pas loupé.
À part sa thune et son physique, il a rien pour lui.
Il parle de qui? Il est tellement beau. Vous allez vous occuper personnellement de lui.
Y'a quelqu'un?
Ah, c'est vous.
Bonjour.
Pareil, t'as chatté avec l'homme de tes rêves toute la nuit?
Meuf, vous parlez H24.
Ça fait 2 mois qu'il me balade. Ça se trouve, il est marié, 3 enfants.
Tu veux pas savoir qui c'est?
Je crois plus en l'amour.
Si déjà tu pouvais un peu ken. Avoue, tu le kiffes un peu.
C'est un trou du cul qui se croit tout permis parce qu'il est pas mal.
C'est une très très mauvaise image de moi en fait.
T'es le nouveau barman? Ça s'est fait comme ça, puis il est gay en plus. Ça va très vite être catalogué comme la meuf qui se tape le personnel.
Parce que la meuf qui flirte avec les clients, ça c'est pas grave. T'étais heureuse dans ta vie avant que j'arrive, non?
Je sais pas comment j'ai fait pour tout faire foirer.
Parce que t'es fucked up, tout simplement.
Thank you.
So, do you find that there are some genres that are more adaptable in this sense?
Yes, we do. In terms of the market, we have always the same researches coming back. For instance, domestic thrillers. So thrillers which would be based on the psyche of the characters instead of very bloody thrillers. Then love, of course, is something that, gather everything together.
But in our market, and I think it's the same for India, of course with OTT platform, it gave new opportunities, but we have a very strong ecosystem with art house films and feature films. So the purpose of what we do is to find the best match, the best place for a story to be adapted. So it can be turned into a film for the platform. It can be a series, it can be a web series, it can either be a play. So it's all about finding the right person to make the great adaptation.
It could be the French market, but for some books, the market could be elsewhere. It could be in the UK, it could be in the US, might be in India. So this job is really a job which has to be fought globally.
Yes, because certainly a lot of the OTT platforms are available around the world, and so many of us watch now content which may not be actually picturized in the same language that we speak, because there are always constant translations. But Joss, coming to you, you have moved across comics, graphic novels, webtoons, and you even ran a comic book studio in India. So would you like to say a bit about your journey?
Yeah, that's right. So I've been across all these media since the last 25 years, including animation, and I did also a bit of products based on IPs that I tried to develop with my different businesses. When I was in India for 6 years and a half, I was based in Pune, in Maharashtra. And I had the chance to work with about 25 artists from all over the country. And we were working on comic books. It was a comic book studio. So we were providing services to French publishers for the coloring. And we also created some series. One of them became a huge hit in the French market. So we are very proud with all the team because it was entirely created with our team, the visual. The stories was written by a French writer. So it was quite a wild experience.
And in terms of the audience tastes in visual narratives, what did you think differed between France and India? Did you feel there was a difference, or was everybody responding similarly? And what surprised you about India in that sense?
So what I noticed is the gap of generation. In our studio, when I was working in Pune, there was a generation of artists, more of my generation actually, but we were more in a mindset of I work in a studio, I just do a function, they could work in a shop, or they were more like technical, kind of. And the young generation, they were so creative, so inspired by all the content they could read digitally mostly. And that's how I discovered the digital comics, the webtoons, thanks to the artists I was working with in India. They were all reading webtoons, let's say the Gen Z, and we were exchanging about that. They were watching anime, of course, that generation of Indian artists, and they were so creative. Like some of them even went outside and started to work with big company like Riot Games, the company that produced Arcane on Netflix. So that level of artists we had the chance to work with in India.
I'd like to ask all three of you. I think we are seeing a more fluid movement between books, comics, films, and series. It's like stories are moving from, their stories are leaping out of the page, as it were, and moving between different formats. Do you think we are heading towards a time where stories will be conceived not just for any one single medium right from the outset, but will they be designed to start right from the outset as something that would exist across formats? And is it already happening, or do you see it happening more in the future?
You use a word, you said that the stories are conceived. I don't know if they are conceived. I think you have authors who have stories to tell. It's very deeply rooted. And they don't think about the way it could then be transformed. It's something they need to tell. And maybe other ones are more, let's say, flexible. They can try to... they want to write a book, but they want also to experience the writing, the script writing, and so they are more familiar with alternative ways to tell stories. So I'm not sure there is one single answer to your question from my perspective.
But it's true, we have a few authors who now have several careers. They write for books and they can also become scriptwriter. But it's not the vast majority, and the type of writing is very different. The writing of a production for film or series is a very specific way of writing.
I would say that as a writer myself, I've been through what she was describing. Like, I could explain comic books, animation, which is two different worlds in the way you tell the stories. And webtoons is somewhere in between. What I would say is what matters when you write or even when you publish is to meet the readers, meet the audience. So more you have media to share your story, more people can experience whatever you bring in this world as a creator, or even some editors and publishers, they are very much involved in the creation of their artists, you know. So it matters a lot to reach as much as we can people. So that era of transmedia is a great opportunity, and it's connecting everyone all over the world thanks to digital, I feel.
And, you know, since we're at a point where possibly we've already entered the age of AI and generative technologies, so how are these aiding or affecting your work? And are you optimistic about AI? Are you embracing these tools, or are you wary of them? It's for all of you, whoever wants to.
Of course, we are engaged in that conversation. It's true that right now our clients from the publishing world are in France very cautious about IA, because of course that business is rooted in the creativity of the writers, and the tools that have been developed are more to make sure that the books are actually real creation. But we know the business is going to change. In production, the game has already started. So we have to be part of this discussion. When we were preparing this session, Delphine said that it's always the case when you have a revolution. First people are scared, and then we move on, and we find the very best. And IA is going to be, is going to give multiple possibilities. We're thinking, for instance, of the animation production. Many things are not possible today because it's too expensive. So IA will open new roads for those production.
Yeah. I mean, we discussed that together before, so we agree. Yeah, but what is interesting about IA is that it's the very beginning, and as long as it is used as a tool or to enhance your work, or it will be wonderful. So, of course, and we come from the country where moral rights, it's really like the gold rule. So it's very important to protect the authors and their creativity. But it's not about replacing them. So they will find their way, I'm pretty confident. And for the industry, business-wise or technically speaking, it will help a lot, yeah. So we just have to be cautious and positive, I think.
I would say that AI got... first, we have to assess that you have AI and you have generative AI. So AI can be also... There are many tools that I'm using every day to help me for cross-checking a contract, reading... no, but what I mean is it helped me as a, I can say, when you are independent, you may not be able to hire a lawyer, and you read by yourself some elements, and you can have a second reading with such a tool. You can use that tool to work on your marketing. You can use that tool to organize, I don't know, your administration, like all the boring stuff when you are creative. Now, about generative AI, one of the main issues is that all these systems are taking content without asking the creators. There is a big copyright issues, and no one is assessing the elephant in the room all over the world. Like what creators and even right owners are saying is, this is my content you are taking to create a new business. And did you ask me the permission? Are you paying something? No. So people like Disney, they came and they block everything. Then finally they got a contract now with OpenAI to, so somehow they came to a solution. But they are Disney. We are not all Disney.
But very famously, the Studio Ghibli, was... So would you like to say a bit about that particular example? Because it was a style that was copied. I mean, this is for you, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And from my point of view and my experience, the biggest threat of generative AI is that when you are a young artist and you start in the industry, you're supposed to be one of the little hands that grow within a studio, within a team, by working as an assistant. And then after a couple of years, maybe you will create your own thing. You will have the skill, you will be inspired by a master, a sensei in Japan. And then you may create a book and meet some wonderful agent that transform your book into movies. But this artist today, how can he exist in the future if all the big authors are replaced by AI? Or if you say, okay, the style of Ghibli is wonderful, let's make 10,000 Ghibli content, or like Disney is about to do now, by creating, based on something that works. That's a marketing vision, that's to sell more, that's only business. They don't see the practical thing of how do you grow the next generation of artists here? So that's an existential trait for all businesses, I feel.
I think it was already the case, even in the 60s. When I think of Andy Warhol with, the pop artist, with the painting, with the Campbell cans. It was all about this kind of making art an industry. So we'll find a way, I think. You
shouldn't be worried.
No,
yeah. I think, but the difference, if I may say so, the difference is the scale. Of course, there's always been, somebody wanting to copy a famous artist, and Andy Warhol is a very good example. But here, it's a sheer scale. Like me sitting in my little room with my phone, I can create anything, any Studio Ghibli, for example. And millions around the world can do that. So I would see that as the issue, really, in what we are talking about.
We feel the creative content, very creative, will find its way, and it will maybe even more than before stand out from standardized story. But it's just honestly an insight of what's happening, but we are quite confident.
We would need 2 more hours to discuss this matter.
Josh, did you very quickly want to say something?
Yeah, it's just, bottom line, it's all about money. So, if the industry move toward what costs less, I understand the concept. I'm a producer, I understand. And of course, we can't afford certain production, but you have to keep in mind that we need to invest on the young artists today so they can grow, so they become the artists of tomorrow. Because tomorrow, people like me will be gone, and all the great artists, they will be part of history, and we need always to renew the art, right? So, and that's the thing with human culture. We have a tendency to go too far, too quick into something that is so exciting, and at some point it's too late to come back. And I feel that we need to think carefully, and of course it's very useful in production. I know the benefit, But we need to keep, I don't know, some way, some rules to make sure that the young generation can grow in an ecosystem that is preserved, to make sure that tomorrow we'll have artists. That's it.
We agree. And French people love debating, as you can see.
No, thank you for that. So looking ahead, is there any innovation in narrative formats particularly that you're all excited about?
Again, we discussed that with Maÿlis because you were kind enough to share your questions ahead. Actually, it's in India where we found the most impressive and astonishing new form of storytelling, because we've been told about the microdrama, which is something we didn't know of, and it's really very interesting. And it's interesting because the narrative process goes with the technical process. So because we understood young generation... What? So you're all aware of what is a microdrama? Okay, so Maÿlis is right. So it's a 1 minute episode, and you can have like a season of 100 episodes. This is something you can watch through apps on your smartphone. So the, let's say, 5 first episodes are for free. Then you have to pay just a few cents, a few rupees, but really like that, or agree to watch an ad. It gives you access to 5 more, etc., etc. So now there is this business that is emerging, and it's very interesting. It's totally new. We didn't know that, so it's interesting. We learned a lot from this.
And in France, there is the same trend of short format, which probably goes with the. It's not that short. But that's interesting, and that we learned through meetings we had with Mumbai producers last week.
It's very interesting. I didn't know it was a trend here, but you remember that platform called Black Pills? They were doing that, basically.
Yeah, it was like 10 years ago.
Yes.
And it didn't work at all.
In France.
In France.
Animation, live action. It was very
but it wasn't the right timing.
10 minutes episode. Here.
Yeah, 1 minute.
1 minute.
Debating.
Wow. Sorry. It's interesting.
It was interesting because you might think, okay, this is for the entertainment industry, but some of the producers we were discussing with really wanted to have education in and also an insight in social issues of contemporary India. So the short format could also, foster a reflection on Indian society and issues, and that's inspiring.
And this is what Josselin said. It's all about reaching the audience. It's all about. This is what we are all aiming at.
From my perspective, that over the last few days, we were in Delhi, then Chennai, now here, and I just something came into my mind because most discussions are about books, but books is an object, right? It could be a chair, it could be a lamp. What I want to say is actually we are talking about reading. And my project is to work on digital reading first, to reach the audience, and mostly the Gen Z, who have that use of mobile and tablet to read digitally web novels, which is like novels, but with episodes every week, etc. And our webtoons, the digital comics. And it's a very exciting time to explore this media, even for the artist, to reach our audience all over the world. That's the power of digital. Translation is, again, something that's more accessible now, localization. So, yeah, and it's just a first brick, and then after come the book, or the movies, or animation, or whatever, like it's very exciting to think about all that and to experience that.
Thank you. I think this is a good time to get some thoughts from the audience. If there are any questions, please put up your hands. Yes.
Enchanté. Je m'appelle Michel, and I'll stop my really bad French right there. I'm a multi-platform artist and kind of exist in literature and film and art and music. And when you go to these festivals, whether it's here or Sundance or Cannes Lion or Art Basel, you start to see these patterns because these are industries, siloed industries. My question is, existing between these industries, I'm wondering what insights that's given you as you go through your career.
In my case, I come from a publishing background, so I've been working for publishers for 20 years. And starting this discussion with Delphine, I really changed the way I'm doing my job and the way I understand the production industry. So I think it's a very interesting position to be in between industries. It's sometimes difficult because people don't really understand where you stand, and they might be a bit, puzzled. But when you enter into a conversation, I think it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting because you learn from both of them. What is important is to be very respectful about their respective expectations and concerns. And once you get to know the people you work with on both sides, you can be very, not only useful, but really to give them what they are looking for. So for a publisher and an author, it's this amazing opportunity to reach a new audience and to give another life to your book, and a life that will be given also with another creator, who will be the movie director, for instance.
Yeah. Maybe, but yes, that's very experience I had. I remember when we start working together, we had a meeting with a director, which was introduced to the author because he wanted to adapt her book. And at the end of the appointment, he called me to say, was I good during the talk? And I was puzzled because for the very first time I understood the director was also my author. So I was working for the author of the original work, but I was also working for the director, and he was anxious to know what I thought of what he said. And I think it really gives you an idea of how it opens the way we were approaching the business.
I would say that you talk about silos, and that's true. Like each industry got their own way of doing things, even if we, at the end, the audience are more or less not the same, but not exactly the same, but they are looking for the same, maybe kind of experience, but they are going through different media. No, that's people like Matriochkas are vital for us because we need facilitators between all the industry, like some like diplomat who can translate the word of a book publisher into the language of a film producer, and the people like you know how to do that perfectly. So even me as a writer, sometimes I've been challenged on that. It's not always easy, and even as a webtoon producer. So we need agent and people in between to facilitate that, to work on the contract, it's very important for the ecosystem. And not only in one country, but every country got their own dynamics, and we can get inspired by those dynamics. I'm thinking of Japan, who has a way of doing things totally different. Everyone is around the table, they share everything to create a strong IP, and it's very inspiring. So yeah, it's very exciting.
I think we have time for one question. Would you like to go ahead? The lady in the front row.
I was wondering, it's so easy nowadays to write a very rough draft of a story and ask AI to storyboard it, or to make it into a 1-minute microdrama, or expand it into a 10-hour drama, and then give it, say that this was based in India, now make it based in Japan or London or something, with a migrant from South Africa. I have no idea what those characters would say, but it seems as though AI gives really interesting ideas, and then next thing you say, write it like Dr. Seuss, and then
Sorry,
say...
what's the question, please?
So, how is this going to be changing webtoons, web cartoons, for example?
Alors, it's not so easy. It takes time. The difference is just you, instead of working with 70 people, you work with 2 people. So it's a matter of cost, and we were talking about this. No, I mean, it's just like, do you reach the audience or not with AI content? I'm not so sure. My experience is people who do 100% AI content, and I can see that there are so much webtoon generated by I don't know who, but or what. No, but there must be someone behind, maybe a marketing agency, or I don't know, or someone at the other side of the world who think this is cool, but this is crap. And there is no audience, there is no data, nothing. Like, people don't relate to it. You need to relate to the world of some artists, creators. And so far, we are not there yet. Maybe one day, I don't know. But so far, it's complicated in the webtoon industry. I know in video, it's start to get complicated now. But maybe new generation of artists will use this tool to create something unexpected. I'm sure it will happen. But right now, for the webtoon, it's not there, I think.
Well, I think that's all we have time for, but thank you all so much. And I think stories will always be there.
Thank you.
And you know, from the first cave paintings to the micro dramas of today, and I think that's what we are celebrating here at Jaipur Literature Festival and at Bookmark. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.